Hello and welcome to Adventure Land. I really do miss your smiling faces, but totally enjoyed last weekend when I got to see some of you at a distance while we were out delivering watermelons. That was such a fun time and it was good to see you. Okay, you remember last week when we learned a spelling word? It was fish. Do you remember? F-I-S-H. And we talked about some different Bible lessons all about fish, and I told you I had one more lesson that I'd share with you this week. So if everybody wants to catch their bubbles, okay, and sit quietly, that I am going to read you a story today, a Bible lesson out of the Beginner's Bible. And this particular story is found in all four of the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Okay, it says, Jesus and his disciples were tired. They needed a quiet place to rest, so they got into a boat and pushed off from shore. A crowd followed the boat. Over 5,000 people had come to see Jesus, even though he was tired. Jesus wanted to help them. He climbed out of the boat and he began to bless and heal many people. Later that day, the disciples said to Jesus, "It's getting late. These people should go home and eat dinner." Jesus replied, "We can feed them. See if anyone has any food to share." The disciples found one boy. He had 5 loaves of bread and 2 small fish. Jesus said, "Bring the boy to me." The disciples asked, How will so little food feed so many people?" Jesus said, "You'll see. Have the people sit down." Then he took the bread and he gave thanks to God. His disciples gave bread and fish to everyone, and to their surprise, 12 baskets were left over. Do you ever get tired of being around your brothers and sisters? You just need to be by yourself. Just get away by yourself. Maybe go to your room. Maybe you have a special place where you can go to be by yourself. This is kind of how Jesus and his disciples were. They were tired. They had been preaching and teaching, and Jesus had been healing people, and they had just been, he loved doing it, but they were just physically tired. You ever just get worn out from playing? So they were tired. So they got in a boat, and they were going to go to a special quiet place. But when they started to leave, the people followed them. And the Bible tells us that there were about 5,000 men, not counting their families, not counting their wives and their children, 5,000 men that had followed them. So let me give you an idea of how many 5,000 is. Okay, after doing some research, I found out that 3/4 of a cup of rice equals about 5,000 uncooked pieces of rice. So let's measure this out. Here's a 1/4 measuring cup. Okay, so there's 1/4. There's 2/4. There is 3/4 of a cup of uncooked rice. That's approximately 5,000 pieces of rice. That's a whole lot of rice, don't you think? Okay, now over here, I'm going to put out a piece of rice for me. Okay, that's me. And the people in your living room watching you with you, maybe there's 5 or 6 total people. So I'm going to put 5 or 6 pieces of rice there. Okay, so this is me plus your family in your living room, and this is 5,000. Okay, Jesus just had compassion on these people. That means he loved the people. And even though he was so tired, he wanted to spend time with them. He wanted to pray with them. He wanted to preach. He wanted to heal the sick, all because he loved them. So he did that. And he spent like all day doing this. Well, later in the afternoon, the disciples were kind of looking around thinking, they told Jesus, do you want us to send all these people home? They probably they're probably getting hungry. We are out here in the middle of nowhere. We're not close to any houses. We're not close to any stores. You think we need to just send them on their way so they can find something to eat and maybe find some place to sleep? And Jesus said, no, I think you need to feed them. And the disciples were like, how are we going to feed all these people? So I said, ask anyone if they have any food that they could share. Well, one of the disciples named Andrew, you remember Andrew? He was a fisherman from one of our lessons last week. He found a young boy, and he had brought his lunch. Okay, when he left home that morning, his mom had packed him a lunch, so he had it. Do you remember what he had in his lunch? Let's look. Okay, he had 1 loaf of bread, and these are small loaves of bread. 2 loaves of bread, 3, 4, 5. He had 5 little loaves of bread, and to go along with our fish stories from last week, he also had 2 fish. This is what his mom had packed his lunch that day. 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Okay? If you look at our little pile over here, that's me and the ones in your living room, this would probably be enough to feed us, don't you think? If we shared, okay, that might feed us, but is this 5 loaves and 2 fish gonna feed all of these people? Jesus, said he would show them how that was going to work. So he told the disciples to have all the people sit in smaller groups. This was a big grassy area. He told them to get in groups of 50s and 100s. Okay? So when you're going to the park and you're going to have a picnic, you might take a blanket with you, right? So we're going to spread our blanket out on the ground here. Okay? And then we can sit, because Jesus said have them divide up in smaller groups, in groups of 50 and groups of 100, so families could all sit together. So they sat all over this big grassy area. And then Jesus took some of the bread, okay, and he looked up to heaven and he prayed, okay, and it might have gone something like this. Thank you, God, for the bread. Thank you for all of these people that have come out. I just pray your blessing over this as we feed everyone. Just amen. Might have been something like that, okay? And then he broke the bread and he gave it to his disciples to feed all the people. Now, isn't that a good example that Jesus gave us? He broke, before they ate, okay, he thanked God for the food. Do you do that before you sit down for a meal? I must admit, in Adventure Land, when we have snack time, a lot of times, in fact, most of the times, we forget to pray. When we get back together, I need you to remind me of that we always need to pray before we eat and thank God for the provision that he's given us. Okay? So the disciples passed out all the bread to all the people, all the 5,000 men, plus their wives and their children, all of their families. They passed it out, and everybody ate, and they ate as much as they wanted, the bread and the fish, until they were full. And then Jesus told his disciples, I want you to go around and gather up whatever is left over. We don't want to waste anything. So you remember what we started with, 5 little loaves of bread and 2 fish. Jesus prayed, God blessed, and remember how many baskets they had left over? Let's see how many baskets I have here. Okay, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, here's 6 baskets, and you know that 6 plus 6 equals 12, right? We're having a math lesson today. 6 plus 6 is 12. So there was all these baskets of food left over, and you remember what we started with? Okay, that just shows God's blessing upon all the people. Okay, and something that I want you to, we have 2 takeaways from this lesson. Number 1, when we offer what we have to God, whether it's on money, whether it is things that we share, whether it's our time, we offer what we have to God, and He blesses it and multiplies it. God is just so good to us, and He loves us so much. You know, I want to move over here. Happy Mother's Day, by the way. I have something set up over here, and Mr. Noah's going to take a picture of it so you can see what my dominoes spell. Okay, can you see what the letters spell? We have M-O-M. What does that spell? That spells mom, right? Because today is Mother's Day. So we've spelled the word mom. Now we're going to do a little experiment here and hope it works. Okay? That didn't work too well. That didn't work at all, did it? You know why? This one domino makes a difference. I forgot to put the one domino in there, so it didn't work. To me, this tells us that we are all important. We are just one, but we're important. What if the boy had not shared his lunch? Okay, what he did seemed very small, but it was very important. So whatever you do to serve the Lord and tell your families about Jesus, whether you mind your mom and dad, whether you take something to your neighbor, that you are important. Even though you're just one person, you're very important. And God blesses everything that you do. Okay, since it is Mother's Day, it's kind of difficult since you're not here with me in class for us to make something to give to your mom. But there's something that you can do to your mom, with your mom. You can sing her a song. Okay, and I'm going to lead you in the song. I want everybody to stand up now. And can you do your hands like this? Can you make a heart? Okay, now you're going to recognize the tune to this song, so just sing along with me, okay? If you love your mama, Noah, blow a kiss. If you love your mama, Noah, blow a kiss. If you love your mama, know it, then you really want to show it. If you love your mama, know it, blow a kiss. If you love your mama, know it, give her a hug. If you love your mama, know it, give her a hug. If you love your mama, know it, and you really want to show it. If you love your mama, know it, give her a hug. If you love your mama, know it, give high fives. High five. If you love your mama, know it, give high fives. High five. If you love your mama, know it, and you really want to show it. If you love your mama, know it, give high fives. High fives. You know what's next. If you love your mama, know it, do all three. Give her a hug. High fives. If you love your mama, know it, do all three. Give her a hug. High fives. If you love your mama, know it, and you really want to show it. If you love your mama, know it, do all three. Give her a hug. High fives. Yay, I know you did great, and I know your moms will really appreciate it. One other thing you can do with your moms is snuggle in the chair with her. So if you got a comfy chair in your living room, I want you to, hopefully your mom's already sitting in it. If she's not, maybe she'll go sit in the chair for you and get comfortable and sit up on her lap. Does your mom like to read you stories? And have you ever heard the stories about if you give a mouse a cookie? I love those books. That everything that happens with the mouse when you give it a cookie. Well, I have one today for mothers, and it's called If You Give Mom a Muffin. It says if you give Mom a muffin, she'll want a cup of coffee to go with it. She'll pour herself some, and then her 3-year-old will come and spill the coffee. Mom will wipe it up. Wiping the floor, she finds some dirty socks. She'll remember that she has to do the laundry. When she puts the laundry in the washer, she'll trip over the shoes and bump into the freezer. Bumping into the freezer will remind her that she has to plan supper. She'll get out a pound of hamburger. Then she'll find her cookbook. How to make 101 things with a pound of hamburger. The cookbook is sitting under a pile of mail. She'll see the phone bill, which is due tomorrow. She'll look for her checkbook. Her checkbook is in her purse, which is being dumped out by her 2-year-old. When she is changing her 2-year-old, the phone will ring. Her 5-year-old will answer and hang up. She'll remember she was supposed to phone a friend to come over for some coffee. Thinking of coffee will remind her she was going to have a cup. She'll pour herself some more, and chances are, if she has a cup of coffee, her kids will have eaten the muffin that went with it. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed our lesson today. I hope you have a wonderful Mother's Day, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.